You keep swearing you'll change. Tomorrow will be different, you tell yourself. You'll stop chasing what hurts. You'll say no when you need to. You won't text them back. Not this time. But the spiral returns, almost as if you were never the one in charge. So why do we keep acting out the same storylines with new names? And here's a deeper question. What if you're not repeating the pattern? What if the pattern is repeating you? By the end of this video, you'll understand what's really driving your actions. Drawing on Carl Jung's insights, we'll explore the hidden forces shaping your behavior, the ones you don't even realize are there. You'll see how your choices might not be as random as they feel, and how something deeper is pulling the strings. Most of all, you'll learn how to stop running the same script and start writing your own. If you're ready to stop being directed and start becoming the author, keep watching. To understand why change feels impossible, we have to start below the surface. Carl Jung believed the conscious mind is not in control. Not fully. Beneath your awareness is something deeper. A psychic basement called the unconscious. It keeps the things you've forgotten. The parts of you you've denied. The wounds you never healed. And these elements don't just disappear. They just lose their name. And with it, your power to manage them. And when you can't manage them, they manage you. They show up as impulsive habits, emotional shutdowns, outbursts you can't explain. The patterns you swear are just the way you are. But they're not. Jung called this the shadow. The parts of yourself you reject, projected outward or acted out without awareness. When an inner situation is not made conscious, Jung wrote, it happens outside, as fate. So ask yourself, when was the last time you believed you were choosing, when, in truth, you were obeying something unexamined? Every psyche has a shadow, the denied, unwanted, or repressed aspects of the self. We push down our rage, hide our neediness, silence our fears. And yet, the shadow doesn't vanish. Instead, it operates in disguise, sabotaging your relationships, hijacking your decisions. It walks ahead of you, playing out what you refuse to see. The less aware you are of your shadow, the more power it has over your life. So think, what might be bursting forth from your shadow, while you keep blaming others for the damage? The shadow doesn't just sit quietly in the background. Sometimes, it takes over completely in the form of a complex. If you've ever said, "I don't know what came over me," you were likely overtaken by a complex. A complex is a sub-personality, built from emotional wounds and unresolved conflicts. And when under pressure, it can seize control. You don't just have complexes. They have you. Think of the last time you overreacted. Was it really about that moment? Or did something older, deeper, step in? Which parts of your life feel like they happened to you? Because, deep down, you're not the one actually driving. But these moments aren't random. They're part of a bigger pattern. One your psyche keeps trying to resolve. You don't repeat because you've forgotten. You repeat because you're trying to remember. The repetition isn't a punishment, but an unconscious attempt at resolution. You keep ending up in similar situations with similar people because your psyche is seeking repair. This loop will continue until awareness enters. The problem isn't that you haven't escaped the pattern. It's that you haven't decoded it. Ask yourself, what keeps happening in your life? That might actually be trying to teach you something. So many try to escape the loop by force. But the psyche doesn't respond to force. Modern culture glorifies the conscious will, telling us to hustle, push harder, and use discipline. But Jung shattered the illusion. Willpower is never supreme. Why? Because the unconscious can veto your best intentions. You can want to change, and you can try. But if your goal conflicts with a buried wound, the deeper part of you will interrupt. This doesn't mean you're weak. It just means your mind works in a certain way that you might not see yet. Think back. Which of your failures weren't failures of effort, but failures of inner clarity? So if force doesn't work, what does? You don't escape the loop by pushing harder. You escape it by looking inward. Jung called this individuation. The process of becoming whole by integrating the rejected parts of yourself. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, he said, but by making the darkness conscious. Your repeated mistakes aren't failures. They're messages. So the next time the pattern reappears, don't ask, "Why is this happening again?" Instead ask, "What part of me is trying to speak?" You're not fated to repeat yourself. But if you ignore the invisible author of your behavior, it will keep writing your story. You don't break the loop through denial. You exit it through revelation. And that revelation begins the moment you stop running and start turning inward. If the illusion cracked, even slightly, you're already further than most. Subscribe and reclaim your inner power.